When I first became a manager, I honestly thought, okay, so I'm doing what I was already doing, but now I just tell other people how to do it too. It felt like a title upgrade, not a full role change. It felt like I still had to do the doing, but also just manage a team. And honestly, I was so wrong. Being a manager should be an entirely different job. It requires new skills, new thinking, and it requires habits that no one really teaches you. So today I'm sharing the 9 things that I wish I knew when I first became a manager, so you can skip the awkward, painful learning curve that I had. By the way, my name is Heather Elkington. I have been a manager for almost 10 years now. I've been in startup, corporate, and even in an ops director role in a FTSE 100. And now I work with companies across the globe to really level up their middle management teams. And I have seen it all. The highest performing teams, the most engaged teams, all the way to the broken, falling apart teams and the management that we have used to get them there. So let's dive in so I can share some of these big learnings with you. Firstly, being good at the job doesn't necessarily mean you will be good at leading people. Now, I know that this is a bitter pill to swallow, but it's a really important one that we have to take on. I always thought, well, if I'm good at what I do, obviously I'm going to be a good manager too, but that was wrong. Doing the work and leading the people who do the work are 2 completely different careers. Now, I don't want to scare you with this, but leadership needs to move away from showing how brilliant you are. When we're an individual contributor, it's all about showing how great we are, how excellent we are at our specific job or skill. When you move into management, it's now about helping our team show how brilliant they are. It's not about us. We have to step out of that spotlight. We need some patience, communication, emotional intelligence, and coaching. And no one really hands you a playbook for this stuff. We really have to figure out that being a great individual contributor doesn't automatically prepare you to lead a team. If anything, you have to really unlearn that we are not the hero anymore and focus on building heroes instead. 2, we can't manage everyone in the same way. So when I first started in management, I had this idea that good management all looked one way, like a one-size-fits-all style. But humans are not robots. Learning to read your team and to understand their personalities, their fears, their motivations, that's the real job, and it never stops. So we don't manage the role, we manage the person, and each of those people will have individual needs. Now, the way to do this is to get curious, ask questions, find out about people's goals, people's fears, and that will really help you to manage them in the best way possible. And that leads me on to point 3, because even if people need managing differently, that doesn't mean you should ignore having the difficult conversations. Avoiding hard conversations does genuinely make everything worse. So I used to tell myself, let's just see if it gets better on its own, it'll figure itself out, it's only a small thing. Spoiler alert, it never gets better on its own. In fact, it always gets worse. Resentment builds, standards slip, and relationships really get strained when we ignore these difficult conversations. So the tough conversations, the ones that have to be about performance, behavior, setting boundaries, they won't destroy trust. It doesn't mean people don't like you anymore, and I know we all love to avoid conflict, but I promise you, when you have these difficult conversations, it builds trust with your team, it builds respect over time. Being direct and kind is a real superpower in management. Do not avoid it. Number 4 is that clarity is your best friend. I cannot stress this enough. People need clarity. They don't need cleverness. They don't need us beating around the bush. When I gave vague, rambling instructions, my team just got confused and got frustrated. When I kind of gave a disclaimer on everything, like, you know, just in case, blah, blah, blah. When I made expectations super clear, so this is the goal, this is what success looks like, this is the deadline, people feel safer, they feel more motivated. And I know that, like, we think we need to soften all of our messages with words like just and I think and hope that makes sense, but all that ambiguity genuinely just causes anxiety. Clarity is what will cause the action. The best managers are obsessed with making their messages as clear as possible. Number 5 is that feedback needs to be regular, not reserved for emergencies. So I used to think that feedback had to be like formal settings, in one-on-ones, big sit-down, nerve-wracking conversation. But no, feedback can actually just be a normal, tiny course correction part of the job all the time. Something really simple like, hey, really great job on that report. Next time, can we just tighten up the intro a little bit to make it clearer to our customers? That was a great call. I love how you handled that objection. The more we start to normalize this feedback, feedback, the less scary it feels. And the team really won't dread hearing from you. They will welcome that feedback because they know it's helping them to grow. And just an important side note here is that feedback should be going both ways. So you should be encouraging your team to give you feedback. You should ask them questions like, if there was one thing you wish you could change about the way I manage you, what would that be? And I have a full agenda, by the way, it's completely free to download, that you can use in your next one-to-ones to start asking these questions with your team and get closer to your team. Just go and download it. I'll pop the link in the description. Number 6 is your team does not do as you say, they do as you do. They are watching you. And when you are a manager, you are under a silent microscope. And I know that feels really scary and weird to say, but people genuinely pick up on how you handle pressure, how you talk about others, how you act when no one's watching. You cannot preach positivity and then moan about clients behind closed doors. You cannot demand punctuality and then you yourself turn up late to meetings. People follow your behavior, not the things you say, not the slogans that are up on the company wall. You are the culture, you create that. So your actions will become the culture that you have in your team. So if something's going wrong, if you have a problem with ownership, lateness, people caring, people being engaged, look to yourself first. And I mean that with complete love, but it is usually a kind of a culture that we're creating before we put it on other people to fix it. Number 7 is not everything needs your input. So I used to jump into every decision, every project, every problem. I was like, I want approval just to make sure the standards are there, or let me give you my ideas. And it came from a good place. I was wanting to help, but it actually slowed down my team and made them way less confident. One of the best things that we can do as a manager is get out of the way and give them space. This is where we start to empower people. Let them try, let them fail, let them figure it out. And it might just look like things as simple as when we go into meetings, if you are kind of like the manager in that room, the highest paid person in that room, instead of sharing your opinions and putting them on other people, introduce the meeting, lay out maybe the agenda or what you want to achieve, and then hand over the floor and be quiet and tell people that you're going to do that and say, you know, you guys are the experts here. I would love to hear your opinions and I'm going to stay silent for this whole meeting. You are there to coach them, not control them. And there is real power in silence, in a pause as a manager. Number 8, this one definitely had a big impact on my confidence and on my mindset, which was it is okay not to have all the answers. When I started out in leadership, I thought managers were supposed to be some kind of like human Google, and it made me panic because sometimes if I didn't know like the exact HR policy for something, if someone asked me a question, I would think, oh my God, they're going to catch me out. They're going to know that I'm not good at this. And so if someone asked me a question and I didn't know the answer, I would panic inside or just try and avoid ever answering it altogether. The truth is, it is totally fine to say, I don't know, let's figure it out together, or let's go and ask someone else, or I trust you to find the best option. Management is not about having all the answers ever. You will never have all the answers. That's aiming for perfection, which is completely impossible. We just have to build a team that can solve those problems without needing you as a crutch. And we do that by admitting that we don't know, by putting the onus back on them and saying, you are the expert, I trust you to figure this out. And number 9, the last one, this is a bit of a mindset shift when we have to move from the individual contributor to manager, which is your success is measured by your team's success, not your personal success. Early on in management, I still thought about work in terms of me and my output, but management is about scaling the impact you have through others. When your team is smashing it, when they grow, when they achieve great things, that's your success too. So it's not about how busy you look, it's not about how many hours you put in. Real leadership is being able to let go of your ego and make it about them, shining a spotlight on them. So if you're about to step into a management role, or you're already in one, just know this. This is not a promotion to just do what you've already been doing, but do better. This is a whole new career focused on helping others do great work. You are going to stumble, you are going to get things wrong, but it's all okay. If you stay open, stay learning, and just care about your people and your work, you will be the kind of manager that people never forget, and in a good way. And make sure you subscribe because we post leadership videos like this every single week. And if there's a topic you want me to cover, just drop it in the comments. And by the way, if you want to take this stuff even further, I have written an entire book with the 16 rules that I wish I knew when I first became a manager. It's all my learnings of how to become the manager everyone wants to work for. I'll put the link in your description so you can go and get your copy.